are back. The three amigos.
Happy podcast day.
Happy podcast
Happy
day.
podcast day.
We have the young bucks taking over today's podcast while the old dogs are trying to get fed. Literally.
You have a little twinkle in your eye. You look excited.
You know, I feel like someone who sits in this position got to bring a lot of energy, got to bring a lot of respect to the people around.
You're doing
the people around you. Aaron, obviously, he's in Mexico.
God bless.
Big old Mexico.
Tacos, cervezas, margaritas. Maybe he's working out too.
Left the United States at 165 pounds. Comes back from Mexico at
210.
and just blew right back.
Ozempic is done.
All right. Well, let's jump into some stats. We'll take over for Dave not being here.
Don't worry,
Jay?
Dave. I got you.
What do we got?
All right. Current stats, Santa Clara County. Active listings, 858. That's single families, condos, townhouses.
So still under 1,000?
Still under 1,000. We bringing in the off-market stats as well.
Go ahead.
So same token, 272 single-family condos, townhouses that aren't currently off the market.
Correct.
That are opportunities.
So, I mean, that's on the market. Our team has over 15 properties not listed on the MLS coming soon that I know will be coming on. We just had our office meeting today. They have properties that are going to be coming on the market that they haven't listed on. Members only, do not show or show. So, I mean, going into 2025, it seems that we are going to be, especially on the buy side, going to be a lot busier.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's going to be more supply too. I think as rates come down, people will be done holding off, right? Over this COVID period, we saw all these low interest rates that either people bought into or refinanced into, but there's only so long that you can hold on to these properties with these golden handcuffs, as we call them, the interest rates, until, you know, the place feels smaller or you have a life event where you need more space or you need to get to moving to another city. So I think we'll see a lot more inventory coming up in 2025, and definitely more buyer demand as you know what we are seeing with crypto and stock. There's a lot of, you know, people are feeling rich right now.
Yeah, I think a good number that they gave us an example for in today's office was in October, we had just a little over 1,600 homes on the market, single family homes, townhomes, condos. December, we have, 800, you can say 1,100 with the off markets. But I think when we speak to our buyers, especially, I feel like buyers who jumped into the market in October, I feel like are feeling a little, I wouldn't say depressed, but just confused. Like, where is the market? Where is all the inventory that there used to be? And obviously, if you jumped in the market during those times and you're not familiar with the market, being in an affluent area as we are, this is when we tend to see inventory kind of go stagnant. And so I think it's good that we remind our buyers, I know all of us do, is just be patient. Don't stress over something that you don't need to stress about. Don't stress about something that you can't control. Wait it out. Don't take a break. I feel like every time someone takes a break, the right property comes up. Mm-hmm. But just keep your head on a swivel, understand where the market's at. And then when that new year comes, and obviously we tell everyone the second week of February, inventory is going to spike up. And I see us going right back up to that 1,600.
Yeah, I think mid-Jan, Feb onwards, like especially after Super Bowl, we see the selling season began, right? Like we typically see a spike in inventory, and this time around, I mean, seasonality affects our inventory. Mm-hmm. You know, people are in the holiday mood with Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's coming up. So I think for the next 2 weeks until mid-December, we still should see some good homes come up, and but otherwise, in terms of true choice, we should see sometime early next year.
And just to give, I think, a little backing on why that is, and again, I feel sometimes you don't know how long an escrow takes, but an escrow takes 30 days. So again, if you were to list a home after Thanksgiving and you were to get in a contract within a week or so, you'd be closing on either Christmas or New Year's. And again, a lot of people understand that when they speak to their selling agents, and those are reasons why they don't stick their homes on the market just beginning of December.
Yeah, and you know, I just got a client into contract 2 weeks ago, and we have a 45-day close because the sellers need to close first week of Jan because they can't close this year for tax purposes. They're liquidating a lot of properties. So, it can be as soon as 15 days if you want to close before the end of the year, or it can be as long as 45, 60 days, right?
Yeah. And then with that being said, there's 739 pending properties right now. I think all of us have buyers that are pending right now. Mm-hmm. Any good stories, any good deals you guys were able to get? How was it? Was it like really competitive? Was it a little easier now?
I mean, I don't think this is a story about how we got into contract, but when we were in contract, I think this just goes back to, our cliche saying of who you work with matters. We're in contract. appraiser wants to do a desk appraisal. So again, there's two types of appraisals for
Enlighten the audience, Ben.
For the people listening here, two types of appraisals. Obviously, you have the in-person appraisal, and then you have the desk appraisal. Desk appraisal usually comes with a bit more efficiency because they run their comps online, base it off of what they see, and kind of just move on. In our situation, it was interesting. They gave us this desk appraisal back, but the properties that they appraised on, if you don't have access to the MLS and you don't read the private notes, you don't have access to preliminary titles, like there's a lot that doesn't meet the eye that you can look at and say, oh, this is good. And for example, we get appraised by 3 different properties or 3 comps to our property. 2 of the comps that they were appraising it on, both were marketed as 3-bedroom, 2 baths, 1,500 square feet. Then you pull the title and look at the private remarks, and they're both 3-1s, 1,000 square feet, unpermitted space. And it's like, again, like if you just go about the motions, your agent isn't involved, you get hit with something like this and you end up appraising short. You catch this earlier enough, force upon them the importance of going out to do an actual full appraisal. Your agent goes out there with the comps and has this discussion. Property prices fall into the correct positions they should be. So don't be lazy.
Yeah, that's funny you said that. Last year around this time, I had a desktop appraisal happen, and we got into contract at 3 p.m. By 7 p.m., our appraisal's in, and it's over what we paid for. So it's like it can go either ways, right? And it's funny because if you don't see it in person, because it was an off-market property, but it was such a deal that the appraisal was like, hey, I don't even need to go out there, like based on the square footage, beds, baths, area, and the comps around, like it supports this price point. I don't even have to get out there. But for a low appraisal to happen without even the appraisal walking onto the property, that's insane.
And again, it's truly a sign of laziness. Yeah. And it's funny that it happened to you during the winter season because it's like, oh, it's the winter time. We're just going to do this as quick as possible. But it's like, again, if you don't have access to any of the stuff that we see, how do you even know what you're comping on? Like you're running a Zillow comp and
that's true.
The number.
I had, but recently I got a client into contract. I met them a year and a half ago. They took a long break. They saw the prices keep climbing up. And then 2 weeks ago, I just reached out to them randomly and they're like, hey, you know what? Funny you reach out. We are thinking of getting back into the market. I was like, look, now is the time to strike before the start of 2025. And I showed them 3 properties and we got into contract on one of them. We beat 11 offers because he had already been, like, we'd placed offers when we first started. So he'd already known about the process and how things work. And so it's easy for me to be like, hey, look, we need to beat all of this right now so that by the time you move in January or February, you'll be whole and you'll be, enjoying your new home while everyone's competing out there for new inventory. And he fully understood that, and now he has a beautiful home. We beat 11 offers on that. On the flip side, there's another property in Almaden where it just got listed on a Tuesday. I showed it on a Wednesday, and then on Thursday we ended up writing a preemptive offer, and the guy got 2 or 3 offers preemptively, and we beat all of them in order to get it. And then after the fact, he gets an offer $100K higher than what we paid for as a backup offer, and we are closing next week.
Yeah, that's wild. Jason you had the property on the market for 60 days almost.
Correct.
And you just received 2 offers within the same day?
Wow.
Yeah.
On
Rhonda. Yeah.
So again, we go from Jeet expressing to his clients that if the months of December, if you find something you like, this is a great time to take advantage of it, jump into something, get a good deal on it. You get 2 offers in the month of December on Rhonda. It's been sitting for 45 days. What, if you had the conversation with that selling agent or that buyer's agent, what have they said about this? Like, why now? Like, what is sparking the interest from their buyers?
For these guys specifically, it was just they just wanted to get in the neighborhood and they really liked the schools. And with those 2 offers, again, who you work with matters.
We something that get thrown up on that.
Yeah. So we were following up with we were following up with the listing agents that were showing the property throughout the past couple weeks. Because even though we've been sitting for a little bit, we're getting 5, 6, 7 showings every single week that entire time. And Aaron and I are good about tag teaming, like, hey, how was it? What's the feedback? How was it? What's the feedback? Yesterday, went through 4 of them that showed over the weekend, like the Thanksgiving weekend. And it was 2, we're passing for these reasons. Then 2 were like, we're going to bring you some offers. And I'm like, all right, good. Yeah. So, it was just they were kind of ready. They were, ready to go. They liked the schools, and And they
Was it
accepted.
quick? Was it after, because of a price reduction, or
No.
was it
No. We did do a price reduction about a month ago,
okay?
but nothing new, nothing that. It was just like good follow up, and
That's
they brought them. So we'll see. Stay tuned. We'll
Stay
keep you posted
tuned.
on where that one goes.
So, I mean, this leads into a question that I think we were talking about earlier, and I'm going to take the question. I'm going to ask you it to get your opinion on it first. Is the months of December a good time to buy and sell?
I'm glad you asked.
I'm glad you asked.
Yeah, because if you're a buyer out there, I think there's a lot of stereotypes or stigmas about the holidays where it's just like, nope, that's it. Everyone's going to hibernate and all that kind of stuff. And that's what the masses think. And that's what like a lot of people do. But, some of the pros of going in during December is the first one's going to be less competition. And then kind of to Jeet's point, he was in a position, or his buyers were in a position to strike when the right deal came. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure they were pre-approved already. They already knew the process. And then as they're looking at stuff, boom, they're able to strike and hit the ground running.
Right.
Yeah. You'll get a lot of motivated sellers. So kind of sellers that are selling during this time of year, it's usually for a reason. Job relocation, maybe a personal kind of, situation where they have to sell the house, or even some kind of like tax benefits. That's usually kind of like a thing why people want to pick up some properties. So you're gonna get better deals.
I think right now is such a great time to buy a fix and flip. Like Aaron just got one in South San Jose, and I think that's gonna do so well because by the time he goes to sell it around February or March, the market would be insane. So taking advantage of this time of the year to definitely find those deals, and also this is not something you should do, but betting on the market going up, right? In 3 months or 6 months from now.
Yeah, and I think it's important when we say like betting on the market to go up. I think it's important that we focus on those specific neighborhoods. I mean, obviously, there are certain neighborhoods where the market has continuously gone up and is still going up. It's not going to take next year for it to go up any higher. There are some areas, though, that have slowed down where, prices have plateaued where, yes, I think we're going to see that increase in price a little higher. But again, you get some of these areas like where road is 95124, places in Los Gatos, places in Willow Glen. If you're a buyer, you have to think like that. Like, what is going to stop the market from raising if more buyers come back from vacation and start looking in January, February? If more, and again, the whole thought, I think, on how much inventory we're going to have, as much as we keep saying that inventory is going to rise, we're going to see a higher level inventory. I don't think we're going to see the spike of like, oh, we're going to get 1,000 more properties. Yeah. It's like, no, I mean, in our areas, these smaller areas, inventory is going to rise maybe 5%?
Yeah,
maybe.
I'd say so.
Like, do you see inventory going to 95124? You seen 50 more homes come on the market? No, it's like
no. I think the rate of there may be the rate at which new properties come on the market will increase, but I think the rate at which those properties get absorbed will be so high that we won't notice.
Yeah.
They'll just come on and come off.
Yeah, they'll be like come on, come off, right? Like every week we might have 2 or 3 options. Next week they'll be gone. That week we'll have 2, 3 options, and then the next week he'll be gone.
Agreed.
So it'll be a matter of like, hey, more homes. I think more homes will come on the market overall from 24 to 25, but the rate of absorption will also be super high.
Yeah.
Right. So it'll be similar to what we saw, I think, in 2021 almost, as to how high the rate of absorption is.
And I think that's why we stress on our clients so often is like, if you're thinking about purchasing anytime within the next 6 to 12 months, like this is truly the time to start planning. Get your team ready, get your real estate team ready, get your lenders ready. If you need to talk to your tax advisors, get them on board. But again, you talk about these certain areas where how quick they're going to get absorbed. I mean, if you have an understanding of the pattern in the market, if you've watched it for 30, 60 days, sometimes even longer, a year and a half, you've been watching the market, there should be no reason why you're not pulling a trigger when that one property does come up. And again, it depends on the situation you're in. But as a first-time home buyer, what are you really being picky for? Like, as much as you want to get that list of 10 items and have all 10 items checked off, like what gives you the right to want that list when 100 other people are in the same boat as you? Why not be comfortable with 5 of them and then fill in the other 5 yourself and get into that neighborhood, start somewhere, build a stepping stone to something else, and then move on later?
Yeah, and then upgrade in 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just like how you did, Ben. Right?
Yeah.
You bought into 95124, right? Into a property that fit some of your boxes, right? And now
Enough.
you're making it your
Yeah.
own. Right?
Yeah.
What have you done so far?
Oh, yes.
man.
Oh, this is near and dear to Ben's heart because every day Ben comes in. Hey guys, look what I just did. What do you think about this? What do you think about? I'm like, dude, this guy loves it.
Well, it's classic because it's like, I mean, how many times have you guys said to a buyer, it's a domino effect. You're going to touch one thing.
Every
Like-
showing.
And it is hilarious. If you don't have, again, I can tell you the ins and outs of protecting your liability, finding the right home, putting an offer on the home, securing the home. I keep you those now. You get someone underneath your home that, oh yeah, this pipe's going to lead to something else. I have nothing but trust. Like I can't say no. Like, what am I going to tell him? No, that's not true. That's not true. So,
I believe you.
It's again, as a buyer, you jump into this expecting the unexpected.
Yeah.
Like once you touch one thing, you better ready for that domino to start falling.
Ben's the type of guy to buy a crawl space suit and go underneath.
Oh
the
yeah,
house.
with the goggles and
The
everything.
goggles and be like, I'm gonna check this out for myself.
Sometimes you have to. You gotta trust these.
Or
people.
on the weekend, I go, hey, what'd you do this weekend? He goes, oh, I went and bought lumber because I'm redoing my fence. I'm like, you didn't have the fence guy do it? Now I got a better deal.
You know, they know what they're doing. They walk in there specifically telling you certain words. I had somebody check my roof the other day. He was at least 235 pounds. I asked him, I was like, why are you going up on the roof and not that assistant of yours? Like, are you trying to create more work? Like, it's a domino. They do things to like just, oh, well, you know, those shingles right there, they're coming off. Yeah, you just stepped on it.
So if
You know,
you're,
that's what happened. Like, this guy, so there was a leak in my roof, right? Very small leak, and I made this guy go up, and he's like, so while I was up there, I saw some tiles cracked, and I was like, right where you were standing? Is that where it happened?
the direct path you went up.
Yeah, that is, yeah, but I don't even know how we got on that conversation.
No, you're enjoying, as a first-time home buyer, you're
Yes.
enjoying the process of upgrading and
being able to do the
customizing
upgrade. Yes.
and making it your own.
We just had the big dogs walk through.
They didn't even pop in?
No, they gave us the 3-finger wave. Neighbor. We're here. We're here.
Just to shake.
Just the shake.
They were like, oh, you guys got this.
You can handle this. You can handle this. But yeah, okay. So what? We have 2 podcasts left for the month of December. Hopefully they're going to be a part of these next 2. But I mean, prediction. Do we see anything that we think is going to be out of the norm next year? Like, are we giving any warnings, notices? Obviously, we've talked about the urgency if you find something, what could happen in the market if you wait in certain neighborhoods. But like, are we expecting anything weird to happen with presidency rolling over our economy? Are we thinking like, are we expecting a COVID to happen again? What are we?
Those are called black swan events.
Black swan events. Are we expecting anything next year?
I don't think so. I think next year is going to be a pretty traditional year. I think it's going to, if you remember what 2019 was like towards the end, I think that's what 2025 is going to feel like. I think that's my prediction. Like it's going to be pretty, good. We'll have good inventory. We'll have good demand. We'll see the same type of seasonality where, in January, there's a lot of buyers that enter the market. Supply eventually catches up around summer. People will go on vacations. Kids will be out of school. So summer will see a slight flat line. And then, August onwards, once kids are back in school, we'll see, slight downtick in inventory, and then we'll hit the seasonality again around this time. But looking back at every December over the last few years, all my clients that have bought in November, December have been up around 13 to 17% by March or April, which is insane amount of appreciation on a $1.5 million home. That
In
is
3-4 months.
$400,000, right? Within 4 months.
That's where
So
Ben's
it's-
at right now, too, with his. With all the upgrades.
After redoing those pipes underneath the home, I can use the restroom comfortably thinking about my future.
Ben's like, I put new
bless.
fence, 100,000 more
Minimum.
minimum.
That's good. Well, other than that, anything from you?
No, I agree.
Predictions?
I agree with Jeet. I think there's a lot of how do I say this? People are kind of normalizing like the state of the market and interest rates and things like that. Similar note to him, had a client I met back in March, just reached out kind of randomly. Hey, how's it going? Just, want to see how things are going. And, we're actually going to come back into the market. So we're starting their search and getting them all ready to go. If something does pop in December, hopefully we can jump on that. But yeah, I do think that come January after the Super Bowl, we're going to get a lot of people back in, sellers that are like, all right, golden handcuffs coming off. We need to make some moves. We've been here long enough where we have 4 more kids than we did before, and let's get something else. So I think we're gonna have a good, strong year.
Yeah, I think, and this will be interesting. We can talk about this on the next podcast when we get some of the other guys here. But we were all on the MLS NAR education Zoom call last week or whatever. I mean, obviously, I think the biggest piece of information that came out there is that the whole buyer broker agreement is supposed to disappear January 1st. So the hype that we had all year and the chaos and the untransparent transparency
Went whoop, boop.
might have just fizzled out. It
sounded like a good idea at the time.
So we'll get into that obviously next week when we get some of the guys back and we can hear their thoughts and everything. But for our clients and family and friends who are listening, we have Fantasy of Lights next week. So
That'll be the last event of the year.
Event of the year for VKG as we roll into the new year.
I'll be at my brother's wedding.
G will be back in India.
Really? When are you leaving?
I'm on the 10th, and then I come back.
December 10th.
Yeah.
All right.
A day after Christmas.
We'll miss you.
Yeah, you guys got this.
We got it. We'll hold it down.
You'll hold
So wait, December 10th you leave?
Yeah.
This will be Jeet's last podcast of the year right here. We'll be talking about this with Jeet next. Jeet, any last words to the people of 2024 that you would like to say just about the success you've had this year?
He's gonna come back.
I am.
Well, not but not before 2025. So we
You're
won't
coming back when?
We won't.
26th of December.
Yeah,
so I'll be back,
but
we won't have a
We won't have the podcast.
We won't have a podcast.
No. So
Any
this.
last words? Jeet?
Any last words, Jeet?
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Amen.
Amen. And when choosing a real estate agent, who you work with
Who you
matters.
work with matters.
Boom.
All right. See y'all.